Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing an urban sketch from a photo from my vacation. Unfortunately, I ran out of space at one point, so we're going to lose a little bit of the end, but it's nothing big, and you've seen what it looks like. So let's get started. I'm just wetting down my watercolors right now so that they start to soften, and I'll be ready to paint in just a minute. So here I'm just putting down my sketch very lightly. It's just some lines on the paper so that I know where the landscape areas start and end. I'm going to be putting in a boardwalk in the background, so I needed that line, and then the lines in the front are for a rock fieldstone fence that is really pretty. So this is at the Port Iroquois Lighthouse that I was telling you about before. So let's just continue on. Okay, now here I'm just going to wet my brush and lay some water only in the sky area. With it being wet, it makes it nice and easy for the sky to blend and will allow me to make clouds very easily. Now I think my blue is a little heavy here, so I'm going to be removing some of it, but it also helps to give the clouds some character as well. Now here I'm just laying down some green. I think that had a lot of sap green in it. I just took some dried paint from my palette there, my mixing area, to lay down as a base color, and then later I'll come back and add some blades of grass in front of that rock fence. And I'll be doing that in the background as well. But before I do that, I'm adding some masking fluid because there are white daisies in the background, and I'm going to cover some of the paper to keep the white of the paper available. Here I'm just using one of those small dental brushes that you get from your dentist office to get into fine areas, and it's perfect for dotting little flowers on. I had a little too much there, and that's fine because I can remove it later if I want to, or add paint in that area to make the flowers smaller. So you never want to remove masking fluid while it is wet because it will never come off of your paper and you'll have a big spot there. So you always let it dry. All of your mistakes, you can remove it later and then fix your area. Here I'm just trying to straighten the wall out a little bit on this rock wall, and then I'm adding the rocks, and I'm trying to put the rocks in very much like what I see in the photo. because there's so much character to the way the person laid them in. And over to the left you'll see in a bit that I actually had these rocks that were like triangle shapes and come together, and somebody obviously did that on purpose, and it looked really neat. So I'm trying to keep that. I don't have the photo available with me to show you on this video because I am away camping again, this time in Port Huron, Michigan, for a family reunion this weekend, and my photo is on my PC at home. Okay, now I'm going to wet down the area where the water is. There's a peninsula of Canada over on the other side there that I have to keep dry, but I will add the water in here, and I'm using that, what was that, phthalo turquoise, phthalo green, which is very much like Viridian, only stronger, I would say, and then some, it was either cobalt or ultramarine blue that I mixed in with it. I needed some of that greenish color because that lake has such a beautiful color to it. My paper was way too wet when I started, and then I had diluted the color because those phthalo colors are so pigmented that you have to use a lot of water to dilute them, and I ended up having my brush too wet. So that's why I dried my brush, sucked out all the excess pigment and water with it, and then just went over it again, and it worked out fine. I don't know if you saw me add there some streaks of ultramarine blue that I'm putting in just to add a little character to the water and give it a different look, so it's not all exactly the same. Now here I'm just getting ready to mix some paint. I want to mix, I used that ultramarine blue that was sitting there, and I'm adding in some, I think it was quinacridone gold and Payne's gray, and then I decided to add a little raw sienna into the mix and get the color right. So now I'm going to just put this boardwalk in. Now I'll go ahead and start mixing some different pigment for the rock wall in the foreground, and I'll start by laying the flat surface on the top, and then I'll go back and I'll continue to mix different pigments into the colors that I already have, and then just use them that way, and it adds to the continuity of the composition as well. Unfortunately, at this point, I'm coming to the end of the video that I have available, but I will show you the finished painting here in just a second. I did add the grasses in, which is pretty self-explanatory. I just flick up with different colors of greens, add different types of thickness and variation in order to get the grasses look like different plants. You'll also see how I finished the rock wall. And once I put all the rocks in, I just went in with a gray mortar and painted that around each rock individually, which is time consuming, but it wasn't difficult at all. You can see it right here. Then I also added in some pen on the walkway and on the fence. Out in the lake is a white spot, which is actually a Canadian range light, like a lighthouse. It's just a range light out in the distance. So, and then that yellowish area in the peninsula over there is a sandy open area without trees. And that's pretty much it. Please subscribe, like, comment down below, and I will see you all soon. Bye.